It is my great pleasure to present today's last, but certainly not least, Amy High Award to Kelly Mahone Tullier, the Senior Vice President and Deputy General Counsel of PepsiCo. Kelly is an outstanding recipient of this award. She's aimed high and achieved high throughout her career due to her talent, her drive, her hard work. And she's had the constant support throughout this from her husband, Renee, her general counsel, Larry Thompson, who I understand is trying desperately to get here, her colleagues, and her company, Pepsi. Kelly is really smart. She was Phi Beta Kappa in college, on law review at Cornell, and clerked in the Northern District of Texas. She had a brief stint at a law firm and then came to Pepsi in the Frito-Lay division as a trademark lawyer in Frito-Lay in Plano, Texas. And she began to do the trademark work. Trademark's very important to Frito-Lay, and the trademark portfolio, I think, was almost 20,000 trademarks. So she had a big trademark portfolio, but she wanted to grow, and she wanted to grow her practice and grow her knowledge and expertise. So she did. And she went from being a trademark lawyer at Frito-Lay to expand to doing antitrust work, regulatory work, advertising work, and more work for Frito-Lay. She became general counsel of Frito-Lay after several years and managed all the legal work for that $12 billion business. Her career was going extremely well, and that's more than my business at this point, and really quite a big job. So that was great. And I think Kelly thought at that point that she would go to Pepsi's headquarters and purchase and hopefully move up in the legal department, and that would be the progression of her career. Larry Thompson, I think, had different ideas for Kelly. And Larry is, I think, an extraordinary general counsel. And in getting to know Kelly, and I do know Larry somewhat, it seems to me that Larry had a plan, a development plan for Kelly. And you know, now there's a lot of talk about are people mentors or sponsors? Do you need a mentor or a sponsor? The difference is a mentor is kind of a coach, somebody who kind of helps you, gives you coaching, and a sponsor is somebody who really puts their money where their mouth is. A sponsor is somebody who really says, who places you places and gives you opportunities and makes sure that you have the opportunities that you need. And it seems to me, in getting to know Kelly, and again knowing Larry a little bit, that he was both. So Larry told Kelly that she needed some international experience if she was really going to continue to grow and develop. And I think Kelly was okay with that. She thought maybe Paris wouldn't be too bad, or London, whatever. But Larry had different ideas. As I heard this story, it sounded like sort of a development plan on steroids. Because Larry decided that what she should do is go to Dubai and be the lawyer for the whole region that Pepsi defines as Asia, Middle East, and Africa. I guess it's called EMEA. And that includes China, India. I think it's 50 countries, including China and India. Larry wanted Kelly to do that and become Senior Vice President and General Counsel of that region. I think Kelly was excited by that challenge, but had to make the decision with her husband, Renee, and they had a small child, a son, Luke, at the time. And I think to Renee's everlasting credit, and as a role model for husbands and fathers everywhere, Renee gave up his job as an engineer, and the family moved to Dubai. I think it's even more striking because when they did move to Dubai, Kelly traveled, as I understand it, about 70% of the time. And it's an extraordinary region. She had enormous responsibilities and traveled a lot of the time. So that was a great sacrifice, and I think really a wonderful experience for Kelly. 2 years ago, Kelly and her family moved back where she's working in Purchase now as Senior Vice President and Deputy General Counsel, responsible for managing all of the global legal operations of Pepsi, reporting to Larry. Kelly is really quite extraordinary, a high achiever, and it makes a contribution to the company, to the legal department in a whole array of ways. And so I'm really proud to be able to present the Amy High Award to Kelly Tullier. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I realize it's very late, and probably the only people that are still here are my PepsiCo colleagues and the law firms that work with us. Thank you all for staying. I appreciate that. And I know I'm standing between you and meetings, conference calls. Your BlackBerry and your iPhone are just burning in your pockets right now. I get that. Or you have to go to the bathroom really badly. So I'm sorry about that. I'm going to go very quickly. I am from New Jersey originally, so I can talk very fast. But I want to start with thanking Sara for that really kind introduction. It's an honor to receive this award from you in particular, one of the first recipients of the award, and a role model to so many of us in the legal profession. I also want to thank Legal Momentum for honoring me among such incredible women who are an inspiration to women everywhere. I really want to thank my friends and colleagues at PepsiCo. So many of you are here today, and to my law firm friends. A lot of you are here today as well, and I feel your support, and I'm very, very grateful. You know, receiving this kind of incredible award makes you take a few minutes to reflect. And like many of you, I'm a busy lawyer, and I'm a mom, and I feel like I don't have any time at all in my life for any sort of reflection. I mean, I honestly have time to go to the bathroom. That's just the reality of my day. But it made me sit back a little bit because I knew I had to come actually speak to you today, and I had to have something to say, which means I had to think. And I thought about my life and kind of where I expected it to be at this point. It made me think back to the great advice of my mom. And my mom had her children early, got married young, and it was really important to her. I think her main objective for me as a child is she wanted to make sure that I had a skill. She wanted to make sure that I had choices in my life so that I didn't have to rely on anybody else. And how did she do that with me, other than talk to me about it a lot? Well, it dates me a little bit, but it was really important to her that I take typing in high school. How many of you took typing in high school? I know that seems weird if you're young, but it was important that I take typing in high school. And typing in high school for me was like mechanical, a Smith Corona, like ding, that kind of typing. And I think I took away two things from that experience, or the lesson from my mom. One is, I do have to have a skill. I have to have something that will give me choices in my life. But I was certainly sure that it wasn't going to be typing. And it's funny, isn't it? Because think about how much we all type today. And I type like a mad woman, and I still do it on a BlackBerry. I know that also, everybody makes fun of me. I still do it on a BlackBerry. But I type all the time. But I thought about the skills, and when I actually go out and speak to women's groups or to girls about success in their future, I focus on three main characteristics for what I think makes us successful. The first is skill, right? We got to be good at what we do, and we got to continue to hone those skills to get better. Second, we got to have passion. If you don't love what you do, you're not going to be successful. And I'm so fortunate that I love my job and I love what I do, and I think that it shows. But a lot of women I know are really highly educated lawyers and others that really didn't find that right fit for them, and they're not working today, or they're in jobs that they don't like. They're jobs, they're not careers. If you don't love it, it's not a career. And then finally, you got to take some risks, right? You got to put yourself out there, and we women don't always do that. You got to be uncomfortable if you're going to continue to grow. So those are the three main characteristics I think that lead to success, or at least they have for me personally. But at the same time, I think we all know that achieving success is never a sole pursuit. There isn't anyone here today who isn't influenced by the people that they are surrounded by and the environment in which they work. So the other key component, I think, to being successful is choosing to work in the best place for you. If I've been successful, I owe a lot of that to the place where I work, and that's PepsiCo. As Sara explained, I've had the great fortune of working for PepsiCo for almost 17 years. And if you know PepsiCo, you know that we're led by a female CEO, Indra Nooyi. She's an incredible mentor and friend to so many of us. And I think about her vision for the company, which is Performance with Purpose, which has several components, including offering our consumers a variety of products that are both fun to eat and as well as healthier options, environmental sustainability, but also a key plank is providing our employees with a great place to work. And today's award, I think, is a reflection of that plank of Performance with Purpose. The PepsiCo does provide a great place for our associates. And we have a leadership team that is not only committed to growing our employees, but is very passionate about creating opportunities for women. You may not know that at PepsiCo, 4 of our board members are women. And one of those women is here today with us, Dina Dublon, who's a mentor to so many of us. You may not know that our chief personnel officer, our chief procurement officers are also women. Our controller is a woman. Marie Gallagher is also here today to support me and is a great friend. Several great women at PepsiCo. Monique Rataka-Harena, Senior Vice President HR, who worked with me in Dubai, is here, as well as Cindy Nastansky and Michelle Thatcher, my senior colleagues in the law department. I am so lucky that I get to work at a company with a group of such talented women who are also friends. But PepsiCo is not just about women. It's about a great culture that provides opportunities to our employees, for our employees to excel, regardless of your gender. In fact, you heard a little bit about this from Sara, but I joined as a baby lawyer, as I say it, in 1996, coming out of Baker Botts, my law firm. And I started as a trademark lawyer, and I had the opportunity to build a function, to build a department. It was global. I put into place processes and tools. I got to hire great people, and I got promoted repeatedly to broaden my role. And then in 2004, the general counsel job at Frito-Lay became available. And you should know that at that time, there wasn't a woman general counsel at a division of PepsiCo. And there certainly wasn't anybody in their mid-30s in a job like that. More than that, when I was offered that opportunity in 2004, I was 8.5 months pregnant. That's the kind of company PepsiCo is. I wasn't sure I could do that job at all, but you know what? The people at PepsiCo were sure, and they took a huge bet on me. And I have to admit that it was a great experience, and I worked with people like Al Carey, who was our CEO at the time, and my boss at the time was Clay Small, and really helped me to grow into that role. And then 5 years later, my current boss, probably the best boss in the world, if I can say that without sucking up too much, also my mentor, Larry Thompson, and I were talking about my career, and that's when the concept of international did come up, and the first conversation was really about London, when I said yes, right, Renee? Then there was just, that second conversation, which happened to be after dinner and a couple glasses of wine, which is, well, maybe not London. How about Dubai? And I was like, where is Dubai? Does anybody have a map? So I called my mom and I said, they're thinking Dubai. I called my mom before Renee because I didn't know how that was going to go for him. And my mom said, that's next to Yemen, across from Iran. You are not going to Dubai. But Renee and I went over there. It was, Monique, you remember, it was a sandstorm and it was 130 degrees in November, and we said, sure, we'll do this. So we did. We took our son, who was almost 5 years old at the time. But, you go into a job like that, too. Remember, I'd been a food lawyer. I hadn't done the beverage side. I hadn't been living in international. Can I do this? I don't know. But, PepsiCo believed that I could, and I had so much support from Larry, from Indra, from Al Carey and Saad Abdul Latif, who is the CEO of our EMEA sector, who is such a supporter of women. It was a big job. It was complex. A lot of countries, we say we serve 75% of the world's population with food and beverages in the EMEA sector. Monique was there to support me along the way. I honestly felt like there was no way I could fail in that job. So I did that for a couple years, and then I've come back now to the US. And, I think about this award, and I think about aiming high, and I have to admit that I don't think about myself that way. I do know that I love what I do. And I do know that I'm very fortunate to work at a company that's enabled me to have a career that I do love. I have taken some risks, and the company's taken some risks on me. I have been mentored and supported by some of the most amazing men and women in the world since the beginning of my career at PepsiCo. And now my main job is to ensure that the women and the men that I support in the law department have every opportunity to grow and to love their job as much as I do. And when I think about this huge responsibility, I think of my favorite quote from an amazing woman, Maya Angelou, who I had the pleasure of meeting when I was working at Frito-Lay. And she said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. I've learned that people will forget what you did. People will never forget how you make them feel." And this is what guides me in what I do every day. I keep that on my desk, and I try to make others feel as empowered and as appreciated as I have in my career at PepsiCo. I hope to help them aim high in their own way, and I want them to feel as lucky as I do today. Thank you.
Wow, what an impressive bunch of honorees. Thank you all so much for being here today. Enjoy the rest of the day, and please aim high. Thank you.